Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spider-Man. We crashed through a wall.
Of course we did. We're Spider-Man. It's what we do.
And somehow they got up before he did, even though Spider-Man has the super durability and stuff.
They're enhanced. Like,
I guess.
yeah, I think that's all they need.
Oh, but they left the guy. That's something.
Because they got the briefcase.
Yeah, but if you could just cut it off, from the chain and get the handcuffs done, just do that and leave the guy.
Like, couldn't their electric negative powers could cut the ceiling of the truck? I'm sure it could break through the
handcuffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the serum?
I'm gone.
Wait, is she supposed to be Russian?
Yes.
Okay.
You think you save people, but you just make it worse.
Oh, how did we
wait,
make?
how-
Well, okay, we did
how did-
send a truck crashing through city.
But it's like he would have gotten away without Spider-Man there.
Stop! We need to brief Mr. Osborn now.
Ah, boy.
Thanks,
I'll remember this.
Doctor Guy, whose name I don't remember.
He's just a
Well, how did
so-
he make it worse from her perspective?
He sent the truck smashing through the city, breaking stuff and putting people in risk.
She doesn't care about that.
Yeah, no, so she doesn't give a flying fuck about that.
Yeah, so like, why is she sour at him? Because from her perspective, the only thing that changed is that they got their guy back.
Black sedan in a parking lot near Canal and Hudson.
You're a good cop,
Sable.
Gary. I'm on my way.
You sure you're being clear-headed about this?
I am
At
being
least he's
too
not,
much
so.
stereotypical Russian character. I must to be stubborn in all things in order to make story go longer.
Yeah, that scans.
Hey, I'm back. What were you saying?
Let me finish.
I literally haven't seen anything with Silver Sable in it since the 90s, so I'm like
You're a good
struggling
cop,
to
Gary.
remember
I'm
this
on my way.
character's character. If I
You know, whenever I hear Silver
call
Sable,
MJ in
I
the
just think of Cable, and
I think
like
I more think of the Silver Snakes from get to the shrine of the Silver
Now,
Monkey.
MJ.
and now I'm thinking of Cable being on Legends of the Hidden Temple, and he'll just punch a hole through the wall and get
Oh,
the stupid
no.
thing.
It shoots the temple guards, and then suddenly it's like,
But what could they possibly need?
oh, what have we done?
Side note: Cable is the worst Marvel character that they keep on trying to bring back because people liked him for a total of 6 months in the 90s, and for some reason that matters. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal.
I think it's because of the association with Deadpool now more than anything.
No, I feel like Deadpool's left Cable in the dust.
No, I think
No,
that's why he's
they-
brought up.
Yeah, it's more that they have a thing together.
I mean, I guess, but they keep on bringing Cable back in serious things, and whereas Deadpool kind of went on past Cable, because Deadpool wasn't the modern Deadpool back in the 90s. Deadpool was just slightly snarkier. Who's his face?
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. Yeah.
I mean, he at least he got a cameo in the '94 cartoon.
Wait, he did?
But that's the thing, though, Ted.
Yeah,
If
he did.
Deadpool can later be changed and repurposed into something else, I think the same could be said for Cable.
They just
maybe
haven't done
found
it,
yet.
and they've tried
it's like they haven't
6
found it yet,
times.
maybe.
So I feel
Yeah.
like there are greener pastures.
a machine to remove stuff from the atmosphere.
Mr. Lee.
So wait, don't the police know that Lee's the bad guy at this point?
You remain calm
I mean,
and do as I
you can
say.
get in anywhere. It's a crowded city.
Police! Over here!
Okay,
Oh,
this
boy.
is. Ouch! It's like, okay, no, that cop would have been firing instantly. If he saw 3 men in masks walking around like that.
If he was properly trained, then yes.
I'm surprised he didn't, corrupt MJ there.
To be fair, the slowdown made that scene feel longer than it was supposed to. Like, they were only there for, like, a fraction of a second. Oh, yeah, but, yeah, why doesn't he just corrupt MJ? That's a good point.
He wants hostages, even though he can have hostages and have them be corrupted.
Yeah, if you corrupt MJ, you have the media under control, or at least you have an in into the media.
I'd like to speak to Mayor Osborne.
Oh. Wait.
At the same time, though, does Lee know anything about MJ sleuthing around?
Apart from the thing where...
I mean, apparently she's a
MJ
prominent enough reporter that people know who she is. And
Well,
he
I mean,
specifically
apart-
went after her, so...
Apart from the thing where she'd be glowing neon negative black, white, and...
Yeah.
Apparently
Yeah,
you can
the-
turn it on and off, because he can.
Well, he's in control of his power. I don't think that applies to the people he corrupts. Oh, boy.
Here's probably the worst Mary Jane section of them all. Not because of particularly stupid reasons, but because, oh, you have this big infiltration of Grand Central Station where there's lots of hostages and guys running around. You'd have to be super stealthy. It's like, no, we're playing as Mary Jane. And we should be playing as Spider-Man because he's fucking here.
I guess it does really... I'm thinking about this from a story perspective. Being playable in a situation where you're helpless can be very effective. There's a lot
Not
of
in a game
different
like this,
examples.
though.
Maybe not in a game like this, but there are a lot of examples I can think of. Dragon Quest V, the end of Shadow of Colossus. Kind of.
Yeah.
It can work, but from what I can tell, they're not so much doing that so much as they're just having you stand there and wait for Peter to come, which isn't as effective when you know that he is going to come anyway, you know?
It's more a matter of, like, I guess the only narrative thing I can think of is that they want you to, like, identify with Mary Jane, where it's like, oh, you're tired of feeling helpless and stuff, but it's also like, no, we're just frustrated because we want to play as Spider-Man because he's right there.
I think that they needed to rethink what the Mary Jane sections are supposed to do, because I don't think that you necessarily need to cut them all together.
I'd say they just need to
I
cut
mean,
them
like
together.
they could, but I don't think it's an unsalvageable part of the game. Because again, this game is trying to incorporate some stealth elements.
I mean, you can do that. Spider-Man can do stealth.
I mean, that's true. Yes, I think that they needed to rethink how they were.
Okay, now I can get through people. Sure.
No, you can just...
Good. You just got to open up a little more.
You were just going through the wrong people.
Let's all just relax. Listen, I'm a reporter. I have a direct line to
No,
Mayor
you don't.
Osborne. I can help make sure
She's
he
bullshitting.
arrives
I know,
on
but still.
time. First,
The press does not have a direct line to the people. They have direct lines to, like, their secretaries.
Who also just happens to be named Mayor Osborne, for the record.
What, he's his own secretary?
No, the secretary is also named Mayor Osborne.
I really thought I had that election in the bag.
Okay. So... that worked.
Now, this is the part where we should have transitioned to playing as Spider-Man, but no.
Honestly,
No.
I think that this is a relatively common thing in a lot of games where you, as the powerful character, have to escort the not powerful character to what they're to. Okay.
What is stealth?
Optional, apparently.
But like that's in games all the time where you have to make sure that the non-powered character can get through safely. I do think it's relatively clever to have it be told from the other side. I just wish that you had more agency over the situation. Like there was a small part there where you had to notify where something was for Peter to get there, like and be a second pair of eyes. I think that if they had some more elements like that, maybe, then it could be interesting. Again, maybe it's not necessarily the most interesting gameplay, and maybe we would just rather be Spider-Man. But I certainly think that it was worth a shot. I don't know.
I can't let that happen.
No. No, I got myself into this. I'm getting myself out.
What do you mean you got yourself into
Okay,
this?
now
Okay.
now no, Mary Jane.
Now Mary Jane's just being stubborn.
Yeah, that is very much the case. Like, take the ride to the roof or whatever from Peter, and like wait it out.
So, my thought on this is that this Mary Jane section is fairly cleverish. I like the idea of working.
It's like, oh, we
essentially-
need Mary Jane's help to separate the two guys that Pete could have very easily just handled on his own.
But Lewis is defending the concept behind
I mean,
Mary
I'm
Jane
not
sicking
saying that-
Spider-Man.
No.
I'm
I
not
was just talking
saying
about
that-
I was talking about the thing we just did.
I'm not saying that the section is particularly well designed, but I like the idea of this situation where, as Mary Jane, you're helping set Spider-Man up for some sweet stealth takedowns.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Or like having Spider-Man effectively be a stealth tool to get Mary Jane from A to B. Like, I think that could be neat. I just think that the story could use a better reason for her to like need to do
Stick
this,
around.
because I don't know what her goal is at the moment.
No, she's just being stubborn.
Like, I don't know what she's trying to do. Like, get out, get to the thing, find Lee.
She's trying to stop the thing.
Yeah.
But
because she's-
again, the thing is, big sciencey equipment. Is she somehow more qualified than Peter to do that? The answer is no, not really.
Take him out.
Look, I'm just like, I like the idea of this section. I just think, like, number one, it's not quite well designed enough to really capitalize on its concept here. And also, I think that it would be more effective if this were the first Mary Jane section, rather than, having spent half the game setting us up to dread this.
That is also a good point, Lewis. Yeah, where like we've kind of grown to expect to be like, oh, another Mary Jane section. And so when they do something somewhat clever,
I'll take care of the
we're not, oh yeah, Mary Jane, you know how to disarm a bomb, right? Cut the red one. The red one's definitely not the armed
Well,
one.
the stupid thing is that, again, Pete has to walk her through it.
was connected to the battery.
So it's like, can we please just play as the guy who can actually handle it?
Little exclamation mark.
Okay, you'll want to detach the wires from the battery first.
What if I just pull them all out at once?
And unplug them from there.
That sounds bad,
Unplug the
and
wires
don't
from
do
the
that.
I mean, it would shut down the battery.
Okay, Ryan, when we inevitably get into a bomb defusal situation, you are not defusing the bomb. I have experience with these things, so get me some surgery equipment and I can do it.
Oh, I forgot that happened.
Trauma Center's a stupid game, man.
It's Atlas. It's going to be stupid.
I know, but it's like, it's extremely stupid. You know what? I'm proud of us.
Time now, MJ.
Pull the first wire.
Oh, whoever wrapped these things did a terrible job.
I mean, that's
No,
the,
they did,
that
they
was
did
the
an
point.
excellent job. Yeah.
Like, the point is to make it hard to find out where it is.
The timer just changed to 30 seconds.
It's a collapsing circuit.
A what?
What comes next? The fan?
Yes, then the last wire. But you have to hurry.
I would like that if they started pickering here and they just completely forgot about the wire and it just like detonates in their
The
face.
fan. Okay, now the red one.
Yay.
If I ever make a bomb, I'm gonna set it so that if you
People out of here.
detach any of the wires, it blows up.
What I'm gonna if I were a villain trying to do the whole bomb situation,
Right.
I would have it set to blow up at 5 seconds left. So that way whenever they do the dramatic last second stop of the bomb, it won't work.
Okay, so now we're back.
Now
to
we get
Spider-Man.
to play as Spider-Man and do the thing we should have been doing in the first place.
You know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been interesting while playing as Spider-Man to have MJ give you, like, verbal directions for stuff. Like, if, I don't know, like, there was some electrical interference in your spider eyes wouldn't work and you don't get, like, visual cues for stuff, and instead you have to rely on MJ's like verbal things as she leads you from place to place. Like that could have also been cool.
Or like you're playing as Spider-Man, but since this is a big, subway station, there's like a bunch of hostage situations. So while you're handling something, Mary Jane has to like scope out like the northwest corner or something. And she can tell you like, come in from this direction because there's guys there or something. Yeah.
Or even just like you could switch between the two of them, like so that you could get a view, like because there's a lot of instances where Peter can't get a good view at something. Maybe Mary Jane could. Like that could be cool. Like I think this could have been a more well done. Like this is a really cool setup for a section, and I'm sure it's perfectly fine to play after you get out of the MJ part.
I'm starting to miss him.
It's just I don't know. It's always interesting to see like what could have been done with certain things as well.
Yeah, it's one of the, just as we're going on about like the Mary Jane stuff, it's one of the reasons why I just don't quite consider this better than Arkham City as like the best superhero game ever.
I think it also just depends on, a couple of other
It's a hell of a
things.
first start, though.
Yeah.
No, for sure. It's just one of those,
Yeah.
like, when it came out, it's like, oh, it's definitely the best superhero game ever. Totally. It's like, no, it has issues.
I'm not sure.
It's still a fantastic game, don't get me wrong. It's just
I didn't.
not like
Maybe this is
the
just
best one ever, so.
our feeds are different. I didn't quite hear people saying this was the best one because I definitely heard a lot of people comparing it and contrasting it to the Arkham games, particularly City, which I think a lot of people still love.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like I think people very hyperbolize.
I do agree
it.
that it definitely depends on the sort of bubble you surround yourself in, on what you ingest in every day. Because when this game was making the rounds, I heard everybody making it, and myself included, making the comparisons to the Arkham games.
Well, I mean, they're basically.
I didn't really hear anyone saying it was the best one ever, but
I heard a lot of like, it's the best one ever. It's like, no, it's not.
I mean,
It's easily top 3. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't.
yeah, I
think-
mean, at the end of the day, it's still a great game.
yeah.
I think it also doesn't help that we haven't had a lot of good superhero games in the past 15, 20 years.
Besides the Arkham games, so.
Yeah, like we've had some.
And if they either that or they're so incredibly niche that nobody talks about them.
The closest thing to good superhero games that we've had, apart from a few Spider-Man games and Batman Arkham, have been like not really superhero games, but games that channel the idea of superhero games.
like Infamous.
Infamous, yeah.
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 Like, do you even consider stuff like the X-Men arcade game as a superhero game? Because that's basically just Final Fight,
technically
but
is, yeah.
like, I mean, there are superheroes in it, but it's basically
Yeah.
just Final Fight, but with Wolverine and Cyclops. Like, there's very few games that try to emulate the feeling of the hero.
To be fair, though, I don't think superhero qualifies as a genre.
Yeah, because
I'm-
it's like,
Yeah.
what is Batman NES but just Ninja Gaiden?
I know.
Yeah,
To be
and that's
fair,
really
though,
good games,
people
so.
have made subgenres for less big distinctions. So, oh, they're doing the thing with the subway train, like Spider-Man 2 for the Nintendo GameCube. I mean, what?
PS2.
It's kind of my thing.
Xbox?
PlayStation 2?
Okay,
You're-
that was a whole second of nothing that happened there.
So yeah, Martin isn't much of a fight on his own merits. Because it's like
Well,
it's almost like he's a guy with like a power that requires touch against a guy with an actual spider sense.
I mean, that's always... I feel like maybe if they didn't set it in a freaking subway train...
I mean, the other thing is that these two goons totally saw their boss fighting and decided not to do anything.
He's also brainwashing them.
That's
What did
good.
he do?
That's good human soul.
What?
I don't know what he did. Like absorb their power or something.
Better keep my distance for now.
Those two unconscious guys are fucked, by the way.
Can you
Oh,
not just,
boy.
like, web him and stick him to the ground?
No, that would be the smart thing to do. Ouch.
I gotta wonder how often they need to replace the trains in New York City due to superhero fights.
Probably all the time.
A couple miles
don't know.
down the railway, Daredevil's fighting some guy and just waiting for the C train to come in.
Oh, that C train.
That movie
Boy,
sucks.
conveniently.
It does.
It's a little better in its director's cut form.
So I've heard.
Like, the standout example is that, like, the theatrical release had, like, a pointless extra sex scene with Elektra, where Daredevil sort of just, you know, ignores a crisis that he's hearing to sleep with Elektra, but in the actual director's cut, he leaves and goes to deal with it. But, like, there are several points where, like, stuff was just left out that explains important points in the plot. Ooh.
And for some reason,
Well,
the filter
I'm
is still on.
positive that took care of you.
Oh boy, we're doing the thing.
Yeah, like Spider-Man 3. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's clever.
I like how just due to one movie, that's just something he's known for now.
How did you
Well,
know that there
sure.
would be construction right above you?
Well, he asked Yuri right before he decided doing it.
Yeah, but how would he know that those are the streets above him, though? Like, is his sense of direction that good?
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's been all over New York City.
Oh, I'm sure he'll never escape. I'm sure he'll never get out of jail. Nope.
They set us up the bomb.
Damn it, Ryan.
So, Sable, you still think I only make things worse?
She probably would, yes.
This is Mary Jane Watson. Please leave a detailed message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Hey, it's me. Let me know when you want to talk.
Could you? Did you have to do that? The side of the building?
Texting isn't talking?
I mean, no. But I like this bit.
It's over, by the way.
No, not that kind of over.
Hey, Peter, no texting and swinging. Also, he can get his fingers to type in between on the touchscreen with the thing on.
Okay. And not okay. What is there to figure out?
More than you think, Pete, but... I mean, you keep running into headlong situations that you don't need to be in, so...
Maybe. Oh man.
Call me maybe.
Great.
That's
Okay.
the end. That's totally the end of Martin Lee. Definitely, for sure.
Is that where he bows out of the story, or...
No. Well, sort of.
How do you feel?
He's still around, but he won't be a major player.
How much time do you have?
Okay.
Not much. Heroics for you means paperwork for me. But I just wanted to say, good
Someone
job.
appreciates my work.
Thanks, Yuri. I kind of needed
Thanks,
that.
myself.
Positive reinforcement.
Uh,
Spider-Man.
Peter, have you
Oh,
just
shit,
been
I didn't realize what I said. Yeah, I didn't realize what I said.
Time to get back to being a friendly neighborhood Spidey.
So go do other things. Stupid.
That's basically what it is. Yeah.
So do you like have to wait a certain amount of time before more story pops up or do a certain amount of
Yeah.
side quests?
Yes.
Okay.